I told you guys months ago, Mexico on home soil is different. Under the experienced leadership of Javier Aguirre, now in his third spell as Mexico manager, El Tri have put together a World Cup run that is already being talked about as one of the greatest in the country's history. I mean, this team is so good defensively, having not conceded a single goal all tournament. Aguirre has created a team that's organized without the ball, aggressive when pressing, and super patient when building their attacks. When Mexico has possession, they usually build out in a 4-3-3 before shifting into more of an attacking 3-2-5. That gives them extra numbers through the middle while creating 1v1 opportunities for the wingers and overlapping fullbacks out wide. Without the ball, they're just as flexible. Mexico is happy to drop into a compact back five, usually in a 5-3-2 or 5-4-1 shape, making it incredibly difficult for the opponent to play through the middle. Then going forward, they have multiple different players that can get a goal. Whether it's Jimenez, Quiñones, or even Romo from midfield, there's always someone that can put the ball into the back of the net. The balance between the defensive discipline and that attacking flexibility has made Mexico one of the toughest teams to play against at this World Cup. So it comes as no surprise that they genuinely believe they can compete with anyone. It all started on June 11th in the huge opener against South Africa at the Azteca, or should I say Mexico City Stadium, since that's what it's officially called for this tournament. This was the most chaotic World Cup opener I've ever seen. And trust me guys, I'm an unk. I have watched a lot of World Cups. Javier Aguirre's team came flying out of the blocks, pressing South Africa high up the pitch from the very first whistle. It paid off because after just 9 minutes, Eric Lira won the ball deep inside the South African half before slipping a pass through to Julian Quiñones. Making his World Cup debut, Quiñones stayed calm and finished through Ronwen Williams' legs to send the stadium into celebration. The first goal of the 2026 World Cup had been scored. Mexico stayed in control and things became even easier early in the second half when the South African midfielder Sidhol was shown a straight red card for bringing down Brian Gutierrez as he was through on goal. Then in the second half, Alvarado delivered a perfect cross to the back post and Jimenez powered home a header for his first ever World Cup goal. The closing stages though turned scrappy. South Africa were reduced to 9 men, then Mexico also got a red card after Cesar Montes was sent off in stoppage time. But despite all the chaos that happened, Mexico had started their World Cup campaign in style. Now a lot of people didn't give Mexico too much praise because South Africa were just that bad in the first match. I mean, do you understand how bad you have to be to get more red cards than goals? So the next game became the real first test, playing against South Korea. South Korea came in with a much more disciplined defensive game plan and frustrated El Tri for much of the first half. They controlled 54% of the possession, slowed the tempo, and that's why the Mexican fans started booing them. The breakthrough finally arrived just after halftime thanks to a costly South Korean mistake. Raul Jimenez's header looped into the air and the Korean goalie, Kim Sung-gyu, rushed out to claim it, but he crashed into his own defender instead, spilling the ball into a dangerous area, and it was Luis Romo who reacted the quickest. I saw Mexican fans online jokingly complain about Romo scoring because they said that it means he's gonna keep getting more playing time. South Korea threw everything forward in the closing stages, but Rangel made sure Mexico held on. In the 87th minute, he pulled off a stunning double save, first denying Cho Gae-sung's header before somehow reacting to block Young Hyun Jun's rebound from point blank range. It wasn't a great performance from El Tri by any stretch of the imagination. But in knockout football, the only thing that really matters is the result. And they had gotten another 3 points without conceding a single goal. With a place in the knockout rounds already secured, Javier Aguirre rotated a squad from Mexico's final group match against Czechia. Despite making 5 changes, El Tri produced their most convincing performance of the tournament, showing just how much depth they have. The biggest talking point was the 17-year-old Gilberto Mora, who was handed his first World Cup start. Mora controlled the tempo throughout the match and even earned a standing ovation when he was subbed in the second half. Mexico finally broke through in the 55th minute when the left back Mateo Chavez made a brilliant run forward before calmly finishing to give the host the lead. Just 6 minutes later, Julian Quiñones grabbed his second goal of the tournament. The biggest moment of the night though came in the 77th minute, when the legendary goalkeeper Guillermo Ochoa came off the bench to a standing ovation. becoming just the third player in football history, alongside Messi and Ronaldo, to appear at 6 different World Cups. That win completed a perfect group stage. Mexico, for the first time in their World Cup history, had won all 3 of their group stage matches, and were heading to the knockouts full of confidence. Mexico returned to the Mexico City Stadium on June 30th for their biggest test yet, a round of 32 showdown with Ecuador. Fresh off a win over Germany in the group stage, Ecuador arrived full of confidence. They had stars like William Pacho, Pierre Hincapié, and Moises Caicedo. The game actually got delayed because of thunderstorm, but once it got underway, Mexico wasted no time taking control. In the 22nd minute, Roberto Alvarado played a perfectly weighted ball over the top for Julian Quiñones, who timed his run to perfection before cutting inside and smashing a powerful shot into the top corner to give El Tri the lead. Not gonna lie, I was yelling at my TV for Quiñones to pass the ball, then he shut me the hell up. I wonder if those weirdos who kept calling him a fake Mexican are still supporting the goals that he's scoring for the Mexican national team. Just 9 minutes later, Mexico struck again. This time it was Raul Jimenez who won the ball high up the pitch, combined brilliantly with Quiñones, and curled a beautiful finish into the far corner to make it 2-0 before halftime. Quiñones and Jimenez have been moving like prime Messi and Neymar. With a comfortable lead, Javier Aguirre changed his approach after the break. Mexico dropped into a more compact defensive shape, shutting down Ecuador's attack and giving very little space to Enner Valencia or Kevin Rodriguez. Cesar Montes and Johan Vazquez were outstanding at the heart of the defense, dealing with everything that came their way. Ecuador's frustration eventually boiled over in stoppage time when Pierre Hincapié was shown a straight red card after covering his mouth. I honestly think we're going to keep seeing South American teams get red cards for this because at this point, it's just muscle memory for them. We saw the same thing happen with Miguel Almiron versus Turkey. The final whistle confirmed a 2-0 win. Mexico became the first CONCACAF nation ever to eliminate a South American team in a World Cup knockout match. Their run has been built on the perfect mix of experienced leaders, players rediscovering their best form, and fearless young talents. Javier Aguirre has done a brilliant job managing the squad, using 25 of his 26 players so far, and making everyone feel like they have an important role to play. One of the biggest stories of Mexico's World Cup has been the rise of the goalkeeper, Raul Tala Rangel. When first choice keeper, Luis Angel Malagon, suffered a ruptured Achilles just months before the tournament, many people expected Guillermo Ochoa to come out of hibernation to step back into the starting lineup. You know, since this guy spawns every 4 years, just for the World Cup. Instead, Javier Aguirre put his trust in the 26-year-old Chivas Academy product, and Rangel has rewarded that faith in spectacular fashion. Then you have Julian Quiñones, who has been Mexico's biggest attacking threat at this World Cup. Starting from the left, but constantly drifting inside, he's caused so much problems with his power, direct running, and eye for goal. He has scored 3 goals in 4 matches, and his chemistry with Raul Jimenez has been one of Mexico's biggest weapons. He's in the form of his life, and I guess we should have seen this coming considering he was the top goal scorer in the Saudi League coming into the tournament. Then Raul Jimenez has given Mexico exactly what every successful World Cup team needs, which is a calm, experienced striker who can deliver in the biggest moments. After suffering a life-threatening skull fracture in the Premier League back in 2020, many wondered if this guy would ever return to his best. There were even questions about whether he could even return to football. So seeing him lead the line from Mexico again is one of the tournament's best comeback stories. His goal against Ecuador was also a historic one. It was the 47th of his international career, moving him into 2nd place on Mexico's all-time scoring list. At 35 years old, Jimenez also became the oldest Mexican player ever to score in a World Cup knockout match, proving that despite pushing 40, he's still one of El Tri's biggest difference makers. Then there's Eric Lira, who's been really flying under the radar. The 26-year-old Cruz Azul captain is the glue that holds everything together in the middle of the pitch, protecting the defense while setting the tempo from midfield. This guy always seems to be in the right place, breaking up attacks, and he keeps Mexico in control with simple, smart passing. That might seem obvious, but go look at South Africa's midfield and you'll see that smart, simple passing isn't for everyone. Lira's performance against Ecuador showed exactly why Javier Aguirre trusts him so much. He shielded the back four brilliantly, won so many key battles in midfield against the likes of Moises Caicedo, and gave Mexico's attacking players the freedom to push forward. Then of course there's Gilberto Mora, who I talked about earlier. The Club Tijuana youngster does not look out of place at all. His low center of gravity, quick feet, and composure make him so difficult to stop in tight spaces. I mean, getting the ball off this kid is like trying to catch a fish with your bare hands. He has an impressive ability to just glide past defenders and then pick out clever passes that open up defenses. Mora plays with a calmness and confidence that most players don't develop until much later in their careers, and his performances have quickly made him one of the most exciting young players at the World Cup. Then there's there's Edson Alvarez, who has been the emotional leader of this Mexican team. Even without starting every match, he's shown why he's the captain. His incredible goal line bicycle kick clearance against South Korea was insane. Whether this guy's playing in midfield or dropping into the defense, he brings so much composure and toughness to the team. And Mexico's 12th most important player is Mexico itself. Because I don't know if you guys know this, but this isn't the first time that Mexico have gone on a deep run in the World Cup when it's been on their home soil. The 1970 World Cup, El Tri went unbeaten in the group stage, drawing with the Soviet Union before beating El Salvador 4-0 and Belgium 1-0 to reach the quarterfinals. Their run ended with a 4-1 loss to Italy, but that match wasn't played at the Estadio Azteca. Instead, it took place in Toluca, away from Mexico's biggest home advantage. The same thing happened in 1986. Under Boran Milutinovic, Mexico topped their group before beating Bulgaria in the round of 16 at the Azteca. That match is actually remembered for one of the greatest goals in World Cup history, as Manuel Negrete scored an unforgettable scissor kick after a clever 1-2 with none other than current Mexico manager Javier Aguirre. Mexico's tournament ended in the quarterfinals after losing on penalties to West Germany, but once again the match wasn't played at the Azteca. It took place in Monterrey, meaning El Tri have never lost a World Cup knockout match at their famous home stadium. The stadium remains one of the biggest home advantages in world football. Sitting around 2,200 meters above sea level, the thin air makes life incredibly difficult for visiting teams. Like, these guys tire much quicker than the hosts. Aguirre has used that to his advantage, with Mexico staying patient before turning up the intensity late in matches. That's why 5 of their 8 goals have come in the second half as opponents begin to fade. Now, another big reason why Mexico have been so successful is because of Julian Quiñones. To see how this guy went from rejecting Colombia's offer to becoming one of the most important players for Mexico, you have to watch this documentary I made on his journey. Click right here.